Gilg Jew, Gilg J as Gilg Nerach.
As William Ryley agus a Claare seo, Claare Gael. My name is Robert Cutting Carswell, Robert the Carslach.
Have you ever had tell of old Bobby Bob?
And I'm here to present this programme which is called Claare Gael. And Claare Gael is bilingual, with part of it in the English language, as Rishpert Eliagi Sarilg, and with another part of it in the Manx Gaelic, Chinnedamera, the mother tongue of Eirinagh, the Isle of Man. As Bannacht and Urish. Dr. Jacob Hammer hopes to get a pass to leave the island from Lord Henry Murray, who's just drawn up at the hotel as it happens. However, Lord Henry Murray is with John Backhouse, who made Dr. Hammer a laughingstock in a theatre. Samuel Ryley offers to go down and smooth the way, having spent 2.5 days on a boat journey with Mr. Backhouse. Ren and Surrensach Renfield skepe as tai Benrich and Fairly John Seward, gus Tollowan a tai Nebu. Rennig de kai treich na tengelia riches, ve Gael frail ons Perry Kionley ons Shamer Fadich. Ten Fairly Seward fagen, ach de vel Renfield chit de ve Kuhnrichnesh. I had a very pleasant message from hEANAIGH recently, a Gaelic broadcaster for Radio na Gaeltachta, musician. He was encouraged in music through family, not least his uncle Joseph hEANAIGH. His mother Kate noted down many songs, and this is one from her collection, and it's a song, in fact, that Sean's father Michael sang as something of a party piece. Tashu geistachrish Radio Vanning, Stashu na Nashun, Viscoler Scaliena was Dulish, Alien Vanning.
Is a vidach na garad tige faste nach Sugrowe. O hugmach ri ganwit ed a waller to na do the me. Ma hier to gum a valor le bladder a descune me veil. Akadog me she ganwit shachas kalini desandale. Is a vlitum mash frache o malum shan bar that hay. Ede yede, ede vinye, yeshe guzalien mein. De cholin zasipelach, vi fitte maar frisch an nood. Is een tevech gan aferk, gedura sa seilche rood. Agus rachid go gaile, go gano me gardino. Agus lingis et farige, leive diana sports. Ege fellow en so ligge fam, gus let's velge hal gam hoed. Is ni gewoon ein favalo, gum lashin de fomas door. Ma vi mische falle, daar makkel beworen scheel. Is a lichty band as a hook, tan of gavor ma veil. Chanacha could hacka, could nachte nach jars gun spade. Ach, tusse ve maike, ni adon she wood van tail. Is a een wak muide, chuid an cailm faoid an bhéir fás. Snach an mission trúide, sme cailm slún an gébe legará. Ach mátá sé nar ginúint, nach féidir lenne chéile Beachtas de chuinge, babyse eirinagh. Beachtas de chuinge, babyse eirinagh.
Sean O'Haney and the traditional song Brid Mhurchadha. I suppose that would say that was Bridja Cornish curvy in Manx. My advice proved successful, and going downstairs I encountered Mr. Backhouse, who with friendly freedom took me by the arm and introduced me to Lord Henry. After taking a glass of wine, I informed his lordship of the doctor's unpleasant situation, and of his wish to influence him, Lord Henry, to procure him a passage to England. As soon as Mr. Backhouse heard the subject of his former frolic was above stairs, he jumped up and swore he would pay all his debts for another grand roasting match. He was then hurrying out of the room, but I caught hold of his arm and endeavoured to awaken his feelings in the poor man's behalf, requesting he wouldn't make a jest of the unfortunate. "Why, you damned methodistical hypocrite! My lord, Romney was once a preacher, and now you see he wants to come over us in the old way. But it won't do, Romney, it won't do, I tell you. We'll have the doctor in. Has he got any powder in his wig? If not, by Jupiter, I'll powder it for him." So interestingly there, our Mr. Ryley is a Romney. More of that later on. Fa mi ser sit ag y stedeg of all nish, as hug mi sera de bech is serit. Rennet ten giaull leester, ach verjere rennet coolina majeri en gint plaint. Squerch ve dau fagen, drau gin meideloer ag a fagen a mi chreish wok, son henke fages dau, as doorte morhanish, as ul you en trei in de slitjach oru. Jou de voddens ginawadi Dutch, maar de Bidens ginawadi Dutch, amidjanen. Wij korkunes ons acht en einigden, de redden maakt de rauw mis carretje hier ons eigen fair Benrit Shaw van een vierelje. Ach, son schende zul je, geen al mi tiggle de smunjenegge. Wel mi de higgel, de wel ridden nach hem, ons kofaartjes rischen, de wel shin, maar de bege de giado kujach, de wel eersen kasten of omrid mij enjach, ho jindesach, de wel voor zem fe moilde. Zijn thou verder maakt na san me. Noch, genellis on Lord. The Story Republic is a project taking Cornish poetry, drama and song out to the community, particularly to schools and playgroups. Here they sing Roger Bryant's song, Cornish Lads.
Cornish lads are fishermen,
and Cornish lads are miners too. But when the fish and tin are gone,
what are the Cornish boys to do?
From Newlyn town we used to sail, through rain and mist and lashing gale. The mackerel shoals we hope to find, and soon we've left Land's End behind. The winding engines used to sing a melody to Cornish tin, and Giva lads they all would grin at payday on a Friday. Cornish lads are fishermen, and Cornish lads are miners too. But when the fish and tin are gone, what are the Cornish boys to do?
The water now reclaims the mine, and young men talk of old men's time, and go to work in gold or coal, or face a life upon the dole.
Cornish lads are fishermen, and Cornish lads are miners too. But when the fish and tin are gone, what are the Cornish boys to do?
Roger Bryant's song, The Cornish Lads, sung by the Story Republic, who were based in Scoria in Redruth. Chydyn yn cheb je pishin, na je ket ledden eisach, miolach Chanelle grey vegach, skummel jam kit. Ten a smoem de smunion nishes, fodden few Lucht hamelt deg meer. Tan ten jelach ginst out de raui kuun der a kat roosje badren. As de denke de vi njau eisach. As verjere de vee rachtel, der a verjere hall henk paroxysm ren ledden skier, der en tujem niel en source de goma. Ristrich en ten onrid de tachert, rachtel feien lei, kuun vai eirinagh eirinagh. Saliam de vod in fedden macht lied enjach oor. De bunnes gien mor de berg poer enjach voor chittas gol. Hai de gormaandres. Nog, niemals gino prowles je inchen sledden, nai 4 vanrich. Renniskepeel roos nish, gin koenewoin. Nog, neerskepeel leschnen goene. Niemals korkade, leschne denje erlud airder, muvis famer sen. As he spoke the last words, the waiter entered with Dr. Hammer's most respectful compliments and a request that Lord Henry Murray would indulge him with a moment's audience. This Lord Henry readily granted, and I looked upon the unfortunate quack as a dish of fun ready to be brought in and cut up immediately. As I'd made up my mind to have no hand in the business, pro or con, I withdrew. And, as the post-chaise which brought his lordship was preparing to return to Douglas, we took advantage of it, and left the doctor to get his roasting as well as he could. Which I afterwards understood was accomplished in a very short time after my departure by making the unfortunate man dead drunk, and sending him home in a wheelbarrow, with his face blacked. And so these were Samuel Ryley's earlier encounters with Dr. Jacob Hammer in the island, which we've gone back to look at because of the way he met up again with Dr. Hammer on the ship even as he leaves the island on the 31st of December in 1795. SHORYS a CREAYRIE on harmonica and Brian MacStoll on melodeon, and a tune collected from George Moore of Balladool and called The Old Country Farmer, translated by Dr. John Claggers and eirinagh cheerey. It's also the tune to which Mrs. Shimon of Foxtel sang Coifen Lean Woor, Big Flaxen Headdresses for Mona Douglas.
Manx Radio.
Stasiwn yn asiwn shenn radio fanim as yn short as you clashen Claare na Gael. Mer yn pyn Robert Gytyn Carswell, Robert y Carslach.
Did the ever hear tell of old Bobby Bob?
If you recall, as the ship, bearing Samuel and Anne Ryley away from the island, Samuel goes on deck to watch the effect of stormy weather by the light of a full moon. From the forecastle, he writes, from the forecastle hold, a most extraordinary noise issued, arising from the cackling, quacking and hissing of fowls, geese and ducks, intermixed with a human voice, which bawled out in an imperative tone, "Open the hatch, I say, damn you! Open the hatch! Do you mean to smother me?" A sailor with difficulty uncovered the hold, and a bald human head appeared, except being partially covered with blood and feathers. His body was half dragged through the opening when a tremendous sea broke over us, sending the unfortunate prisoner to his former place of confinement, and produced reiterated complaints from his feathered companions. Another attempt was made with more success, and on his hands and knees this strange being crept towards our cabin. An traslayers feed me lunison. Shen rid nhau yerkit ta tachert de kinjach. Creach am mai as va fisseg d'Israeli bay. An kellach ein, tre hure de rauen cage farslich, had jinnach etlach che. My son va ulju na rechts en krautach ein ons verdeel. Ach de vrie, tashin a vrouwel unrid. Terwijl de shell en de hunes tannach den aan rish tre de loer. Ze trere het fodmuch ljagach en de kjanach en egger rish hEANAIGH dag lei. Tamie go sergen den ten giaull inrigen de groene is jachse chemer fadich, gelees te kuun, der rosh eirinagh. Ni korp en hanem waag goil saile jane gauwer, eer manne wat een eirinagh saige moer jay. Esh, Shen rid nhau jerket rish, te morm rish, tan surrensach rish ernest gepeil. Nu zijn me, adventure Elias en nee. Renfield voorachten de achtel der van ten giaull golstjachse chemer de scrutige. Well, like Mike Bolton's Bunskyle Rumsa folk group hEANAIGH, this song is better than nothing.
O dipyn bach a thraf o
My hynny'n well na dim, that's better than nothing. Dipping back, a little something is better than nothing. A song written by Tudur Hughes Jones and sung by Linda Healy Griffiths. Linda most recently here for the Celtic Congress, and most recently she was joined by her 3 daughters who sing in the group Sorella. Eirinagh as, Shaga, as sŵl les shís a hália. Hug mi Sarah de lisach na tenjeli airter. Rish, highest jack ons tolluin na tai follum, as húrshinéis de vol chedin, as sights jack na shan doris a chabal. Tre honneke mi, denke de vei elgesach, as beider en de tenjeli goile ons tre, vege coreb marumi. Gouds was in kummele ren rid kweeg tagert. Dal tajemach, renne goeblen na h'EANAIGH, as quish dal tajemach, henke de vei kuun. Ich mi me gyr drer kiel stai, ach gedad mi fagen weg. Gauw mi taas de je soel a hornsach, as dair mi a sen. Ach gedad mi krannige weg, gouds vi jean stjachse sper jaal, les saltje in de heest, limme je kratnjag hoer, verbennelt de red tostach skenach schier. De kaartjen de kratnig en kade is flittel me geert, ach van versjo gin de golde girach roy. I, of course, retreated, and as he came down the gangway, heard him exclaim, "Damn the Isle of Man, the legs of man, the calf of man, and all the men upon it, if ever I again venture my carcass among such herring hounds, may I be lacerated, fumigated, feathered, bled, and lubricated with salt water. God help thee, Dr. Hammer, vulgarly called Jacob." To my no small surprise, I found this ingenious inventor and sole proprietor of the universal liniment had been under the degrading necessity of secreting his princely person amongst at least 100 of the feathered tribe on the road to Whitehaven Market to avoid the scrutinizing eye of office. For Lord Henry Murray's interest couldn't procure him a pass until his creditors were satisfied. To avoid laughing at the poor doctor's woebegone figure was impossible. From the heaving and tossing of the vessel, his wig had escaped in the early part of the night. Now, CALUM KENNEDY was a Gaelic singer from Oronsay in the Isle of Lewis, a Mod Gold Medal winner. He started writing and performing songs in English as well, and with records, radio and television, in fact an international career, he appeared in the island here to massive audiences as well.
Sraj, koen der star, holen dans, holen kla, spin mi forgrij, morfij mi o hallo moch hellen down, sauner stene hoking phone, hoek mi traum, ach weh mich in wie Fallitje. Ech mi ins moch heiling Daum, da wo ich feuch weiter hau, spich in ja nach Kaniaum, am mesknen laums na machrichen, o hallo moch helling daum, zauner stene hoking faun, uk mi gut hak gut traum, ach weh mich in wie falichu. SHORYS want an hynny'n down, chwr minchen sycw fawn, stwfing honi cor ag rwm, a hwc mo hwn dysmaeroch, o horo mo hynny'n down, tawn ar stein a hwcyn fawn, hwc mi gylw tag o traum, ach fe mi shin mi falichu.
And singing about his brown-haired girl, Mhurchadha down, that was CALUM Kennedy. Coming in contact with his shipmates, their claws and bills had lacerated his bald pate in every direction, to which the feathers had adhered with great pertinacity, and, from the appearance of his black coat, a casual observer would have supposed him just emerging from a snow shower. Thus equipped, he stood before us, not a little astonished to find a person laughing in the midst of such a war of elements. But the moment he discovered who it was, he roared out, "Oh, Mr. Romney!" There we are, Romney again. "Oh, Mr. Romney, what will become of us? Well, we shall all drown together, that's one comfort, so I must pay you your guinea in the other world. My universal liniment will be lost to posterity, and Dr. Hammer, educated at the College of Aberdeen, created merely for the purpose of filling Pisces abdominis, vulgarly called the bellies of fish. If ever I again set foot on terra firma, which I very much doubt, may my brains be scooped out with a cockleshell to lubricate the wheels of a wagon, if ever I, Jacob Hammer, take another cruise." Maar de berg vissek wol wie Cael gol, na verridden nach lie foi. Henk en surren zag de wijn de skune dag shallet, as doort look tammelt. Gen femio cianlami, nim gol de cune. Gin borre henk sin bakkes a tai. Tammy gennachten de wel ridden nach baggertach se cune zegge, as ge ginnem gerud on die shaw. Gael Lucy Westenra, Hillingham and Cheerey feed me Lunison. Signed out Gino Arish J. Mina, as frailrish screw she's ridden. Esh be cared dun Gino Colortus and Liaura tretashin chitten in Gael. Tammy Gindis cune hig shen. Salium de rawi un shaw merem rish, son Tammy Gennacht and chummi vanre. Ryer ve Jean de rawi dremelrish cart morenmi uns whitby. Fuddy de wel shen kunt een gachleis en na chit de valuerish. Storige satje macht out olju, son hanadum korkunjen weg. Music for a Breton dancer, Pays de Sept, played on clarinets by Yves Leblanc and on melodeon by Mike James. And Yves and Mike, their playing was greatly enjoyed at hEANAIGH a few years ago.
The Nation Station, Manx Radio.
Dú stasiwn na nasiwn na shenn de grey radio vanim, as Cornish sé Claare na Gael viscol skelliena. Mish Robert Cutting Carswell, Robert a Carslach.
Ever heard tell of old Bobby Bob?
Ach ta mi len de aal njau wachtel, as ta mi gennachten, gofes as kjout. Tre Henk Arthur son Kerbel ve Jean siech nit de moe tre hanneke mi. As gerauwe briem de choreber ve ginnel. Tammy gindes weg kerde kadle en scheme me bere nog. Nimmet shirelestial as choreber. Een huegoleus feed me lunesen. Die wacht elje. Ve Jean de raume voir ons cordeel rish mechrieltes. Te Jean de veli heen ons slent gemai. As genaurus genelli son corim ne dau. Hoek mi tannachten me roes. As henkel jamrish tammelt. Ach, tre woelig lag der jeg, renny duste me as seveen. Maar so genaurus van mi chitte wee Mhurchadha. Versoeste schrijbe na bennel tegen onjeg. Ach rauw mi burrit me gaan shen. As ernone wel kunje nemmer weg elje, tammy sheen, de denk mi eis de wee Mhurchadha, son shiggeris. Tulju drach ashlisen. I tacitly coincided with the doctor's resolution, and threw myself on the bed with as much composure as I could command, to await the result of this mighty contest between wind and water. Anne was too much indisposed to pay the smallest attention to the storm. Sickness had overpowered every other sensation, and this I cannot help thinking a very desirable event in such a situation, inasmuch as bodily pain is less acute, less terrific, than the idea of being suddenly and violently launched into eternity. At dawn of day, the captain approached the cabin, with the welcome intelligence that Whitehaven was in sight, and he trusted another hour would land us safe within the pier. His prognostic was verified, though under a less skilful pilot we might have been lost, for wafted by the wings of mighty winds, we narrowly escaped being driven on shore. The vessel, however, was at length safely moored, but Dr. Hammer swore he wouldn't stir a step without his wig. Now, one of the places Dr. Hammer was damning earlier on was a chalú, the calf of man, and this song takes the appearance of the calf as a harbinger of journey's end. Here are Cúirgin Cúideach.
O tan crean yn sysber, as na ffolien yn syne, as tas friach mach as getlach noon as no. As o might and bear the fun, skip a trud na ton and run, as tan tatnus ein a felly golden mall. Tashin shon a rare king, gol a rashkas man and veen, as fed met the man a degen a girl. O tan boger ein the lure, as she slis na sledge and bone, tashin fag and she na mach a gun a crunner. Tashin chicken a chin, ye met roshten either near, as the tatnus a fulje ben as dunya. Tashin shon a rare king, gol a rashkas man and veen, as fed met the man a kegen a girl. Tashin shon a rish a fuss, as the heinny'n and gossus, tashin chicken a died a chit together. Tashin sholias hacks a foot, as na felshin come all flit, as a shent and tourist hanchicus a jera. Tashin sholia rare king, gol a rashkas man and veen, as fed met the man a kegen a girl. Tashin sholia rare king, gol a rashkas man and veen, as fed met the man a kegen a girl.
Cúirgin Cúideach giving their regards to the calf as they sail homewards, in fact giving my regards to the calf if it comes to that. "Would you have me," said he, "appear in this respectable town like a person vulgarly called a blackguard? No, I must recover my peruke merely for the purpose of appearing respectable in course." Finding the search would be attended with delay, and naturally anxious after the perils of a sleepless night to get refreshment and rest, we left him, and were soon seated before a good fire, in a clean room, and every appendage necessary for a comfortable breakfast. And in fact there we'll leave Samuel and Anne Ryley sitting over their breakfast in the town of Whitehaven. But we've heard Samuel Ryley addressed as Mr. Romney in recent parts, and in the preface he writes, "Those who have known the hero," as he describes himself, "those who have known the hero will easily discern that the name is a fictitious one." He also states that though the incidents are founded on facts, fancy has been exercised in the embellishments. Should it afford amusement without injuring morals, should it be the means of awakening a sentiment of pity for suffering humanity, it will answer the intention of the author. Salium draw cunyan morw. Morradiw, tammy fes aglach. Tama edden choniel a sken. As ta scornach corpien daw. Ta auresem de wel riddenach nieuw jaart lesh na skouwenen, son genel mi riw gedden de loer. Nim cor eber vei smoe ginnel trevis arthachit, nonna ta fissem de be a trimshach, fagen me ma saw. As nish skriwen Arthur Homewood, Gus and Fairly Seward. Ta echt Albemarle, and chidla jegus feed me Lunison. Jack Mhurchadha veen, Tammy Giriot the yinu faurdau. Ta Lucy, Ching. Shen de grey novel dochen lieach, ach, tu Jean aglach, as tu chit de Venus medde dag lei. Tammy a vraich G wel bion. Gebloost thou braich Jane Voirex on de vorre eigne of ben wach me gaan een nienek, ze steed slent wist jinneworie nish, weg bij soil. Te benaisje Westenra en inch thou de wel een kronne ek, shigger, goller cree, gerne wel fisseg Lucy wach force. Now this is a short track from Gweno's album in Cornish which is called Tresor, released back in July. The title of this track refers to the ancient monument. It's Men and Toll, the stone with the hole, and that stands between Penzance and Morva. Gweno Saunders currently touring her Cornish album, which is called Tresor, from which that was a track, the shortest track on the album as it happens, Men and Toll, and with no discernible Cornish language in that particular track, but there were sounds down below in the mix. Tammy Shigger, de wel riddenach burre eigne me venneig bien. Ta mi courage for the chilie bonus tre ta mi smunion ori. Ta gien ori cor giwn daw. Dinch mi gi the gin and braiach dors, the yen ori. As gred the renny giaull the shenn a hoyacht, as ged the renny giaull the shenn a hoyacht, ta fissem no, mechan charach, te as le ex, as signed out gin leiste the braiach, no Dutch the chordale. Now, our author of The Itinerant, or Memoirs of an Actor, adopted the surname Ryley, a stage name perhaps, in place of his family name Romney, sometime in the late 1790s or early 1800s. After the time of these events in 1795, where he's still calling himself Romney, although the title on the publication, which is issued in 1808, is actually Ryley. He says he first encountered Dr. Hammer when he decided to try the brooms. And at the time, I was wondering what that meant, because he said he thought he would venture on the brooms. Well, it turns out it was the title of a piece that he'd written called New Brooms, one of 2 or 3 pieces he'd written, evidently some sort of monologue skit with songs, which Dr. Hammer was supposed to play for, but of course dismally failed to do so and became the subject of play being made a fool of by Mr. Backhouse. So that was Samuel Ryley anyway, and we've been reading The Itinerant or Memoirs of an Actor by Samuel William Ryley, who was in fact born Samuel William Romney. And to be hEANAIGH Cornish, stand by for Chris Pearson with 2 hours of the best in chill-out music through to 9 o'clock. And then at 9 o'clock it's sundown. Now, on McLear's album, Live Wire, one of the special guests was Kieran Ryan, banjo player. And similarly with Elizabeth Davidson Blythe and Daniel Quayle's album, The Coast Road. Kieran Ryan played his banjo on their recording as well. In fact, on James Jehania last Friday, Daniel included a piece by Kieran Ryan which was called Banjacks. That was part of his hEANAIGH and cheerey. Well, Kieran plays with the Scottish-based band Dallahan, and we are closing with them. Achnish Seindun Cornish Claire. Until the next time then, this is Robert Cutting Carswell, Robert Carslach.
Old Bobby Bob.
Wishing you a very good night. Eve I'm a CREAYRIE, as Orserlier, as me Yeri and Shed you will you.